Came back off the game from Ole Miss. Like I said, very disappointed that we didn't get the outcome we wanted. Had some things, had opportunities there. Again, talking offensively first, I think we started much better. Out of the blocks really well. Got good balance, run, pass. Guys were mixing. Line was doing a good job. Of course, Connor was playing, I thought, outstanding in the game. Chain was outstanding. Receivers were doing a good job. Guys were executing very well. Got a good jump. It had a couple opportunities. Wish could have got some points right there before half. Had some points right there, and Connor made a great read on they pulled it down, went to scramble, and just lost his balance and on that one. And next one, we didn't get the point, tripped on a guy's foot, but moved the ball well. Had opportunities, and I thought he played really well in the game, controlled the game, managed the game, poised. Moment wasn't too big for him at all. Like I said, part of his maturation coming on and assignments, and what he did was accurate with the football, took care of it, no turnovers. I thought Chain, we ran the ball well up front. We did a good job. A couple times we got some pressure, but for the most part we blocked really well. Staying ahead of the Chains on that situation. Most of the days we're having a lot of positive plays, and we're executing better and not getting behind on third down, which made it better. At red zone we were, I think, 4 out of 4 getting in, which could have got one more chance, one more score there. Special teams wise, really good as far as that. Said they had the fake punt, which they got. We played it. Thought we got him on the ground. They didn't think we did. They ended up getting a long drive out of it. We were there to make the play and hit him, I think, to about 3 yards deep. And but we thought our kickoffs were really good. Our punter did a nice job. I think he hit 4 punts inside the 10, if I'm not mistaken. From what he did, he hit it down there and did a good job there. Return-wise, I don't even think in the return game, Moose was really good. We just need to catch that last one. That last punt, we didn't need to get rolled. That cost us about 18 yards on that. We need to get fielded up to midfield. Been a little bit better situation. Defensively, they come out really fast, got the tempo, which is hard to adjust to, got that first drive. Then they got another drive, and we got them stopped. Then we settled down. Made some really good stops, made some adjustments, had some 3-down stuff, moved some 4-down stuff, fit the runs a lot better, did a better job causing disruption. And they got that one drive off the fake punt and got down there. We had them pinned back and got them stopped, and then they hit that fake punt and barely got it there, and then they finished that drive with a field goal. But then the second half, they got the run game going. We got to fit the runs better, and that's what it was. You see, we got to be quicker and trust our eyes. Just got to trust it and let it go. Not hesitate. Close the gaps. Whether you're a linebacker, whether you're a safety, or whether you're a defensive end, whether you're how we run the twist, and we just didn't fit it. And then we missed a couple tackles, and what we did there, and then on third down, and some of the third down stuff for long yardage situations, we're getting penetration in the pass rush. We're getting disruption, then getting out of lanes, and the quarterback scrambles hurt us there quite a bit on some really big runs, and they were able to move the football and sustain it and get it to where they were going. And we just need to make one more play, and that's we got to keep finding, got to keep scratching, got to keep clawing. There are some things we're getting better at, but we got to improve. We got to be able to get to play the run defense better. We got to be able to contain the quarterback in the pocket, especially this week too. We got Antonio Richardson, who is a phenomenal athlete in Florida. He does a great job of those things, keeping plays alive and what he does, and get ready to play a really good Florida team, and who defensively is very physical up front. Linebackers are excellent. Secondary is always good. They're physical up front in the offensive line, really well coached. Backs are good players, good speed on the outside, and then of course their quarterback is a tremendous athlete, can throw it, run it, and do all the things you got to do. But got to continue to have a good week of practice and move forward and play a better game. Questions?
Down front, Brent.
Jimbo, is the transfer portal something y'all plan to maybe use or look at more extensively
You
in the
got to.
offseason? And I know last week you had said the guys can get in there before you know it, but I would imagine you have people on top of that as well.
Well, you can get in, but you're not allowed to have any contact. There's a certain window, and that's why I say, when you get in that transfer portal, that's what I always say, man, I can't ever figure out how they get in and then figure out where they're going before you ever get there. I mean, I'm for the transfer portal, all of them. You got to put guys in and get guys in, but you cannot. The rules abide that to a guy gets in there and then they get in there one day and they know where they're going, there's not much chance to recruit them. You know what I mean? A lot of those guys something's being done ahead of time somewhere, and so it's something we would definitely use. I mean, whether it's recruiting or transfer portal, without a doubt.
And y'all still use special teams by committee, is that right? And would you consider having a full-time special teams
We do have
coordinator?
that. Two-hand monitors all of our stuff and does it, but you break it down by each coach. And special teams wise, we're doing it. I mean, had a fake. We're there to make the play. We made the play. We hit him 3 yards deep. He just moved through it, and they gave him the first. We thought his knee was down. They didn't, and what we did. And last year we were number 2 or 3 in the country overall in special teams. trying to squib it and just hit it just a little bit deep. I mean, well, he didn't do it on purpose. I mean, it's hit just a hair deep. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like hitting a wedge on a – you get a 100-yard wedge, you hit it 105. I mean, you're not trying to – he knew what he was doing, how he was doing. He just hit it a little bit long. I mean, he practices that all the time. Just like the onside last week, he hit it great. I mean, those are just parts of the game that he's got to continue to do.
Right side.
But special teams, yeah, you can put a guy ahead of it. I mean, put one guy, which that guy does. We certainly do it, and then each guy has a position, just like you do a line coach, a DB coach, running back coach. Every guy has specific parts of it.
To the right, David.
Jimbo, the last couple of weeks, tackling has been an issue. At this point in the season, how do you correct that?
You got to thud. You got to make sure you're stepping on toes, hitting on the rise, and how you practice. But you got to be careful because you're so banged up this late in the year. It's a thing. But the thud part of it, you don't have to tackle them, but you got to hit and wrap up in practice. And you can thud and do that every day. And you got to make sure your drills that we're stepping on toes. I always say, step on the toes, hit on the rise, see what you hit. And when you hit on the roads, you got to wrap and pull, and that's got to keep working. We do individual drills, we do strip drills, we do tackling drills, we do angle drills, and then when you're in team drills, you make sure that we're thudding guys, not tapping off on guys, which we always try to do.
Do you have a response to Lane Kiffin caught on camera yelling at your players and some of the words?
I'm not going to get in. I'll let the league and everybody else handle how they're going to handle that. And never mind. I'll be quiet.
Back behind the lights to the right, Ben.
I can't. It's amazing.
Coach, how do you coach the guys to be disruptive in the pass game, get the pass rush, while also, not breaking contain and not allowing?
It's your rush lanes and where you are and how you got to understand how the slide of the center is, how the slide of the back is. They're taught to play back into the slide, back through the slide, and how guys you're taught to rush to the front shoulder, to the top shoulder of the quarterback, not by him. And when you get to that point, you got to power the inside number and condense the pocket, or power the middle number and condense the pocket, and not let him and cause the disruption from the 2 levels to 3 levels and run. Guys can so get sacks and run by the quarterback. It's all lane production, and it becomes it's a very hard thing because it's discipline, but at the same time you're saying go, but don't, and that's a fine line. But you got to understand you can't rush up the field, which creates lanes when you step up for him to get out. And the inside has got to continue to power the pocket. Like I say, sometimes the best rushes aren't guys coming free. It's when you take the lineman and collapse them on top of the quarterback. It's like a room and the walls are condensing on you. And we just got to do a better job of getting that and correlating it. And if we run the twist games, making sure you loop guys, make sure when they stun up to create, they get the width and get outside. I mean, there's multiple things. And you practice 5-on-4 pass. We'll do a lot of 5-on-4 pass rush. We'll create some spy games, which and bidding our spies. A couple times it was not them, we had spy guys, and sometimes they'd turn and look for a crosser, sometimes instead of keeping their eyes on the quarterback, and that hurt us a couple times.
We'll stay back behind the lights to the left, Tyler.
Jimbo, those first 2 drives on offense seemed very up-tempo. Connor seemed to be in the rhythm.
They were same. It was the same the whole. I mean, whether you get it the whole game or not, our cadence and everything was the same.
So if it was the
and
same,
we were executing.
I guess what was different about that, and how do you replicate that?
Execution. And I'm not joking. I mean, we were executing. We were getting on plays. We were staying ahead of the chains. We were getting the ball out. We were seeing it. We were putting hats to a hat, and we knew what we were doing. And with the execution, I mean, it's like we have a script but we vary off of it a little bit and keep executing. Actually, if you watch, we executed pretty well the whole game. And it'd be one play in the drive. It says back. We missed a 3rd and 1 there one time, and missed something else I'll think of in a minute could cause us to miss one, but you just got to keep your focus and concentration. That's what it gets down to. Focus and concentration allow you to execute, and you see we can make plays. Our guys are good players, and we can execute. You had a good rhythm.
And you talked about Anthony Richardson coming here. What's going to be key in just stopping Florida this week?
I mean, you got to be physical in front. They're good up front. They're going to try and run the football, multiple formations, unbalanced formations, different motions, constant motions. Getting them stopped, feeding the gaps, and then when you rush him, you got to keep him you got to get him to throw, but you got to hit him when you can hit him and legally and do those things, but you can't get overzealous and try to rush out of your lane. And as I say, sometimes linemen want to make a play too much. Sometimes I want a sack. Do your job within the concepts of what you're trying to do and play very disciplined.
Coach will go to the left. Alex, 3rd row.
Hey, Jimbo, what have you seen from Moose this last month as his game's really elevated consistently?
Well, he's getting more opportunities, and we always knew Moose is a very gifted guy, got really good hands, and there's still a level he can go to. I mean, he's still, and I don't mean that, he's making really good plays, making contested catches. We feel very comfortable going to him in all situations, and he's learning the routes and the adjustments and being a lot more consistent, and we're getting the ball to him. And when you're around, listen, Moose can play, can really play. He sticks his foot in the ground, he's strong, he's extremely got good hands, he got very natural hands, strong hands. and what he does, and he's playing pretty good football right now, really good football.
One follow-up. Just how important has his emergence been with guys like Anais?
Well, it's huge because, I mean, Anais was such a big part of playmaking and what you did and in the middle of the field, and then being able to go in the backfield. Moose doesn't do that part of it, but then the punt return part of it, I mean, he's been a great emergence. And like I say, there's good players here. And then, like I say, sometimes somebody else's unfortune becomes somebody else's fortune. And, he's taking advantage of it, and very proud and happy for him.
Back behind the lights to the right, Ben.
Coach, how much more confident and comfortable do you sense Connor is, kind of pre-snap, just getting everything lined up, knowing the offense?
Well, he is, and like I said, early in the last couple of weeks, you can just see it in practice. You can just see him start to come on and feel very comfortable with what he's doing and how he's doing it. And like I say, with a quarterback, there's certain things you can do, but when you play quarterback, you got to be able to do all things. Because everybody else, again, it's not just what you do, it's how you affect. When the other guy doesn't do what he does, can you get to this progression, this progression? And it just really started clicking. You could see it, which we, like I said, I've always felt that about him, and he was going to do that. And he's a hard worker, and he has a natural knack to do things. He has a feel for things and an instinctive part of the game that he really natural at what he does. He's accurate with what he does. And again, he's played one game, and I don't listen. That's just let him be a freshman and play his second game and let him keep playing. But I'm extremely happy, and I love coaching the guy. I mean, he is really fun to coach.
Front row to the left, Zach.
Jimbo, you've alluded to it. Albert alluded to it a little bit earlier about how he feels that guys are pressured and trying to make sure that they don't make mistakes. I imagine you get that a lot with young players.
Well, you get it with old players too, and when you don't have success, you know what I mean? You ain't having the success you want to make. All right, let me make sure I do it right, and you can't. Sometimes the first thing to do is relax, trust your eyes, trust how your coach. Understand. I always say go back to your fundamentals. Remember, you hear the coach saying it in your head and just react. Because if you're thinking on a football field, it's too late. You got to see it. What your eyes. It's like driving a car. If you think about, somebody swerved in front of me, what do? You naturally just make the adjustment. If you think, I think I can go here, well, then what happens? You have a wreck. And I think sometimes that's the way you got to play ball. I mean, there's things going on in front of you that you got to see with your eyes, react, and not as much as you want to do great, you got to relax and trust your eyes. And Albert's right. I mean, and it presses. It's human nature because you don't want to mess up because I don't want to be there. I want to do good and do that. You just got to relax, and that comes with experience, poise, and just keep fundamentally beating it, as far as and every day, just saying it over and over and over, and then trusting it in practice.
So is that something as coaches just repeating that over and over? That's how you can
and also
accomplish it?
making them feel relaxed. I mean, listen, sometimes like right now, yelling, hooting, and hollering, ain't gonna get anything done. I mean, you have the intensity to get things done, and you make points here and there, but you got to let them coach them, fundamentally coach them, make sure they understand what to do and how to do it, and then let them do it.
Second row on the right, Olin.
Couple things. First of all, Edgerrin and Antonio, do you have any idea if they're going to be available?
I'm hoping so. They should be day to day.
Okay.
Well, Coop was there last game.
Yeah, I thought he only played.
He did some, but I mean, he got back to the end of the week. Yeah. We should be back this week because I just think you said that.
Yeah, and then I was just wondering, how are y'all grading out Dewberry since he's been in the starting
Doing
lineup a
well. I
couple
mean,
weeks?
I've been Cam made really good. I mean, he has some mistakes. Some in different things up front when you get to moving and stunting. But man, he's got good steps. He's powerful. He's smart, and he's a kid who really cares. And I mean that. Some guys don't want to mess up, because they don't get in trouble. He don't want to mess up because he don't want to let somebody down. And he's like that sometimes. I tell him, quit worrying about being wrong. Go play. It comes from such a good. He's got such a tremendous heart, and he's a tremendous person. He's very strong, and I think he's playing very good football. Played a very solid football game, man. Played a good football game.
Go to the left.
Wasn't perfect, but it was pretty daggone good.
Cease.
He's going to be a good player.
We asked you after the South Carolina game why you seemingly got away from the running game, and you mentioned that you called RPOs and, of course, checked in with a guy down in the box. Mm-hmm. My question is, when you got a guy like a Chain, are there times when you're going to run the ball even if they got another guy in the box, figuring he might miss the guy or power?
Well,
how's that work?
Well, you got unblocked guys at the point of attack. There ain't many guys making guys miss. I mean, in what you're doing off your – and then you just don't call RPOs, and you call runs where you can bring an extra guy in the box and block them and things like that. I mean, it's like at the end of the games when you're trying to get the ball back. They can always put more guys in the box than you can block. Now, sometimes that works and sometimes that don't. All of a sudden you say, well, I'm going to let him go, and all of a sudden it's 2nd and 11. Well, that's hard. It just depends on what you do, and you evaluate their talent to your talent. But there's ways to also try to get guys in and push crack and bunch up and get in different formations to try to get hats on a hat. And for the most part, we were. If you would look in the game until we got behind, we were very balanced and probably we had more runs than we did passes. until we got to the end, and that's what we tried to do. But when you get in an RPO game, you can't tell the quarterback, okay, if the guy's down, that's your read to throw it. But nah, that's hand it. Then you start, well, when do I hand it? When do I don't? When do I hand it? When do I don't? You know what I mean? It's like giving two things. So don't call RPOs. Call runs and figure out ways to push crack and get the extra blocker or get as many blocked as you can and see what happens. But, yeah, I think he had, what do you have? That's the most carries he's ever had, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Front here, Brent.
That last pass was intended for Blake Smith. Was it injuries? Did that prompt him being out there in that situation? Or
Yeah, we had a guy who was banged up. We had one of our guys.
because he hasn't played much at all, right?
No, he hadn't played. He played a little bit. He's been really good in our 2-minute. The other day in 2-minute, he had 6 catches in our 2-minute drill and took us down to score. He's a guy we feel very comfortable in a passing game with, and was one of our first guys that we bring in the game. That because as a matter of fact, it was Thursday in 2-minute. He had 5 catches in our 2-minute drill and caught the touchdown in 2-minute. He's a guy we put in there all the time and feel very comfortable with him doing it. And we had a guy that was banged up and Donovan got banged in his thigh. And it was really something, couldn't run as well. And, Blake is a really good receiver, so we put him in the game.
Checking on the status to make sure I get this right of Chris Marshall, Denver Harris, B.J. Williams.
Same as last
and
week.
Anthony Lucas.
Everything's status quo, same as last week.
Okay, L.J. Johnson as well.
No, LJ's on our team now. LJ's
on-
fine. Yeah, he's
okay.
fine. He's not in that situation.
I'll go right to your right, I think, Travis. He stole your question.
Well,
All
dovetailing
right.
off him, I know Amari Daniels wasn't suited up. What's his status?
No, he'll be back this week.
Okay, was it injury? Okay. Seemed like, I know a lot of injuries every year, but seems like a lot this year. Is there something is there something you can put your finger on why so many?
They're different injuries. It's a physical game, and you're playing a heck of a schedule. I mean, that's sometimes I've had them. That's just the way it is, and unfortunately, sometimes it goes that way. That's football. I mean, and it's been sometimes you can do it for certain injuries, but they've been different injuries. I mean, whether it's ankles, knees, shoulders, it's a physical game, and most of them, everybody's been a game injury almost. Probably 95% of them all been in games. So that's just the nature of the beast sometimes, unfortunately.
And as you looked back on that hit that Connor took late in the game, were you surprised targeting wasn't called? And how's his head?
Yes, fine. He was good after talked to him after the game. He was really good. As you saw the plays after that, the play he hit a chain for the touchdown was actually his 4th read on the play. That was his backside complete 4th read. The throws he made to, like you say, Blake on the throws on the 2-minute, he was really good in that. What his decisions and where he was going, and it was good after the game. He was great, and should be practice day tomorrow.
Second row, Owen.
Jimbo, 2 years ago when y'all beat Florida, you were very animated at the end of that game, and I wonder if it was because just the nature of the way that game went, or
no, it's the nature of the game to win.
Playing Florida bring out does it mean a little bit more to you because of your history?
Well, I guess it does. I mean, as far as that had nothing to do with me going against Florida. I mean, that was a rivalry at Florida State, like you say. That was a game you had to win and played, and we had a lot of success against them. But just our kids battling back. You know, I mean, that game was a boom, boom, boom. And you needed those games sometimes. All of a sudden, you have those games against a really good team. If I'm not mistaken, I think they were top 5 then. They were a really good team, and we found that way to make that other play. You know what I mean? We got, matter of fact, for what it was, we were driving. It was like, who's going to break first? Both teams were scoring back and forth. And if I'm not mistaken, we fumbled, and they got a score. And then in that last drive, we knocked one loose on them, if I remember right. And then we got a fumble, and just happy for our kids to do it and go finish and have one of those things go their way. And then as you saw the rest of that year, we never lost the rest of the year. I mean, and I think it was just a big point as far as the emotion for our kids. For them, the emotion wasn't for me as much as it was for them, finding that play and having good things happen for them, believing in doing the right things. You know what I mean? That was it, because they were a very good team too.
Third row on the right, Naomi.
Hey, Coach. I'm
Hey.
looking at the stat that I saw yesterday that said for teams that allowed 390-plus rushing yards, they're 0-11, and you guys lost by 3, with the next closest loss at 14. So what do you feel that kind of tells you about both sides of the ball for this team?
Well, we got to play the run better. We need to play the run better, and we got to stop the run, and hopefully we can score a little bit of points. I actually won a game one time. We gave up 400-some yards rushing. We won at 31-28. Exact score the opposite way. When I was at Auburn versus LSU, and Cecil Collins ran for 234 yards, Rondell Mealy ran for 160, and Damian threw for 370, and 360 or 7, something like that. And we beat him in a 2-minute drive. That's the only time I can ever remember that happening, that I know of.
All right, Brent, you wrap us up.
1997. Burger McFarland and the boys.
Are you You done?
I was trying to give you a history, letting you write something. You're going to write what you want to write. You don't write what I say. Why do we even have?
By the way,
wait a minute. Why do we even have these things?
It's your fellow.
Because y'all write what you want to write. You don't write what I say. You guys are the news creators. You just have me stand up here just to take a half hour of my day.
Your fellow West Virginian over there is turning 70 today, by the way.
Oh, did it really? Congratulations.
Pennsylvania, close enough.
We're at in PA. We're at in PA. Where at? Where at? I know where you're at. You're right there above Morgantown and that whole thing.
I think I had a question for you.
You're going to write what you write anyway, so go ahead. That's true, so at least you admit it.
This was going to be a nice question, too.
Okay, I'm not saying I'm not mad. I was being nice now.
Your best offensive showing, Connor in place. How important is it for this program to win, to be bowl eligible by season's end? And
well, it's always important. You always want to go to a bowl game. I think it always helps. That's one of your goals in which you set, and that gives you 15 more practices and as much as anything to that before you even go to the bowl game. Or 15 or 12 or how many. Usually it's around 14, 15 practices, and that's time for your guys. Anytime you play, you get better, and you want to you always want to be a bowl. That's one of your goals is to be in a bowl, and that's one of our goals, and we need to do that.
All right, Coach. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.